It's Friday, and if you are a regular, you know what that means. It means Fanmail Friday. If you're not a regular, welcome. We're going to be answering your burning questions in a moment on this edition of Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5. And nope, that's the wrong copy. I'm so sorry, people. I love doing things live. Hold on. Let me get this right because I'll get in trouble. We don't need that to happen. Hold on. I knew it didn't look right. Here we go. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 and you win, or if you win, you score $200 in bonus bets. You can download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's the right thing. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, we're having bad Friday.
I thought it sounded great. I had no problem with it.
You're sick-ish.
Yeah.
Which is why we're a little late, so we apologize. I don't know how to do the rundown correctly and forgot to put the right copy in there, so I apologize for that. But listen to this. Fanmail Friday is all insiders.
Wow.
I think this might be the first time that's happened.
No YouTube questions.
No, not that I could find. None were labeled Fanmail Friday. So,
Ooh.
Yeah. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. So again, it's Fanmail Friday. We'll be answering your questions about the Yankees, about baseball, and apparently about pizza, but that's coming up later. If you're a regular, you know that Fanmail Friday starts with the insiders. And if you're an everydayer, you know that Fanmail Friday starts with a specific insider, Betty. So here's Betty's question. Should the Yankees keep Ben Rice as a backup catcher, not getting much playing time, or would it be better to send him to AAA where he could gain experience playing daily?
You know what's funny about this question, Stacey? I really don't know the answer to it because as the season ended last year and they had given him primary first base reps throughout the regular season last year, I kind of thought his catching days were potentially over or they were taking a back seat. Here's the thing, and we'll say this to Betty, all of our listeners, you can't do both. It's one of the few positions you can't catch and play first base. It doesn't exist. You can, for certain, play in the outfield and different switch outfield positions. We've even seen guys go from the outfield to first base. That happens. There are plenty of platoon guys around the league, but catcher is one of those positions you really don't platoon. Maybe later on in your career, we've seen catchers go to first base, but that's later on in your career. I don't think he's going back to catcher. And here's why. I think if the Yankees saw him as a legitimate top-tier catching prospect, then they would have kept him there, and they wouldn't have moved him to first base. So I think he's staying at first base, to be honest with you. Whether he's in the major league roster or on the minor league roster is a whole other question, but I think he's going to stay at first base.
I think so, too. Thank you for the question, Betty.
Thank you, Betty. David F. His Fanmail Friday question. Fortunately for us Yankees fans, we have many players in the Hall of Fame. Which Yankee player would you like to see in the Hall but probably won't make it? Well, we know Stacey's answer for sure.
Yes, it's A-Rod.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's A-Rod. Yeah, that was easy for me.
No, your answer's Andy Pettitte, I think.
No, it's A-Rod. A-Rod's never getting into the Hall of Fame. He should, but he's never getting into it.
And you don't think Andy Pettitte's one of those guys? I mean, he's also a steroid guy.
True, but A-Rod's like literally one of the best players to ever play the game.
Yeah, no, it's a travesty. A-Rod should absolutely be in.
I mean, steroids are not, we've seen other guys play steroids that didn't do anything. God rest his soul. Jeremy Giambi took them. He hit like 50 home runs in his entire career when his brother nearly had 50 in 1 year. So,
Yep, 696 is a pretty big number, over 2,000 RBIs. A-Rod absolutely is. I mean, A-Rod, you could have a serious debate if you just count his numbers and take all the extras out. A-Rod's one of the top 5 players in the history of baseball with his numbers. You could actually debate that. So yeah, I'd agree with you at A-Rod. I thought your answer was going to be Andy Pettitte. I honestly did. I thought your answer was going to be Andy Pettitte, who I don't think is a Hall of Famer, but you kind of do think is a Hall of Famer because of the playoff performances and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd go A-Rod too, though. I think A-Rod's the most obvious. A-Rod to me is one of the most Hall of Fame type players in the history of the sport, and isn't in for some reason. So, well, we know the reason, but
we know the reason.
Yeah, it's definitely A-Rod.
Thank you for that question, David. Next, Adam Cole from Australia. In the past few years, I've made a habit of going to opening day. As a foreigner, Australian, what tradition should I adhere to for opening day, if there are any, apart from wear several layers of clothing, considering how cold it is?
March 27th this year. I know, March 27th.
You know what it's going to be? It's going to be cold in January, February, and then March will be warm, and then it'll get cold again in April. So you're going to have fake out for March 27th where it's not that cold, and you're like, oh, wow, maybe spring's coming early, and then it's going to get cold again.
Fun fact, I don't know if I don't remember hearing this from you, so excuse me for not remembering. But fun fact about me, I have actually never been to opening day.
I've been to a million other
games. Yeah, I've been to a million other games. I've seen it all pretty much live. I have not been to opening day. I was supposed to go in 2016. It got rained out, and they moved it the next day, and I was in college at the time, so I wasn't able to make the makeup day. Honestly, though, I'll say this, and I'd love your opinion on it. I don't get the big deal on it. I don't. Opening day is significantly more expensive to go to than game 2 for whatever reason. You look at opening day tickets on, they're $185 sitting in the worst seat for opening day. The next day they're $22.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The price difference is so much. At the end of the day, it's a regular baseball game. It's one of 162. I guess the semblance of it is nice, but overall, I'm never driven to go to opening day, really.
See, I used to get opening day tickets with my Sunday plan. When I first got my Sunday plan, it was every Sunday home game, opening day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Old Timers Day. So I had, it wasn't just Sundays, it was a bunch of games. So I had opening day until they moved to the new stadium and they took opening day out of my plan. But I got opening day tickets anyway, because that was the year I was laid off and I got the legend seats by third base. I was like, I'll spend $6.25 on a ticket. I have the money to do it, so why not? And then I think, how many years in a row did I go to? I think I went to 15 opening days in a row. Wow. And then that streak ended in 2012. And I was extremely upset because I was one of those people, like I had a big opening day streak. I had an over 20-year long Old Timers Day streak that was ruined by COVID. Like there was a lot of, I'm one of those like people, I wanted to be on the board where, the Yankees welcome Stacey Gotsulias for her 50th Old Timers Day. Like I wanted, recognition, and it got ruined.
I had the option to add the Old Timers Day to my season ticket plan, but I never have because again, it's more expensive than the other tickets. I think they're playing Milwaukee this year on opening day.
It's Old Timers Day is not fun without the game. The game is what made it fun. And when I first started going to Old Timers Day, you still had the guys from the 40s, 50s, and 60s alive and trying to play, in the 90s.
Legends,
yeah. And I mean, it was still fun into 2000s and even into the 2010s, but then all these guys started dying off, obviously, because they're all really old. But,
well, that's the thing
but what's the point of Old Timers Day without a game, Derek Jeter?
Yeah, now that you've got like Lyle Overbay showing up to Old Timers Day, it's like, all right, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, it's not. But any traditions? Just no, I don't think there are any traditions on opening day.
It's just a symbolism kind of thing at this point. Like it's just the first game. That's it. Last one for this segment, Stacey. Bobby Santoro. Who in your eyes was the greatest player you've seen live? That's an interesting. Well, I mean, I guess this is a convoluted question for you because you could say one of the Old Timers Day games because you did see them play live. Technically,
that's true.
I mean, you've seen maybe like Joe DiMaggio or Mickey Mantle play live by a technicality.
Yeah, well, no. When did Mickey Mantle die?
In the 90s, right?
95, 96. I think I went to my first Old Timers Day in 97, which wasn't part of my plan. or 90.
Okay.
When did I go? I can't remember. And Joe DiMaggio, the first Old Timers Day that I went to, um, for my first year, he had passed away that year in 99. Um,
Wow.
but I mean, I saw, like, if you think about who I saw play against the Yankees in some cases with the Yankees in the 80s, like I got to see Ricky Henderson, I got to see Dave Winfield on the Yankees, I got to see Don Mattingly on the Yankees, and then you think of all the other people on the other side. I got like, Paul Molitor and like all these like incredible
Yeah.
players. Um,
I mean, A-Rod.
yeah, I mean,
A-Rod. I mean,
A-Rod's
Roy
probably one of
Halladay.
the best players I've seen play live. Yeah. Um, I was very excited to see, because of the hype surrounding him, Yasiel Puig when he first came around.
Ooh, okay.
He was amazing, and when I was slightly late to the game and he was motoring into second on a double, like, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, but I would
It's
say
hard to
probably
remember.
A-Rod.
I've seen a ton at this point when it comes to baseball. Definitely Roy Halladay. I mean, again, I've told the story that I saw him take a perfect game into the seventh. That was pretty iconic. I think it's more iconic to see iconic players do iconic things while they're playing too. Not just
Yeah.
I don't want to see Barry Bonds go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. I want to see him hit 4 home runs. A-Rod for sure, though. I mean, obviously seen him a bunch of times. I've seen really rare occurrence. I've seen Mike Trout play, just be on the field healthy.
Oh,
I've
yeah, I
seen,
have too.
yeah,
Yeah, I've seen
uh,
Shohei Ohtani play,
yeah.
although he got bombed for, like, 7 runs in the first inning, and then the Yankees ended up losing that game anyway because Aroldis Chapman's horrible. Uh,
So yeah, I mean, I've seen, believe it or not, weirdly enough, I've seen better football players because I grew up having Jet season tickets. So me and my dad at one point got access to being on the field for warmups, and we got to watch Tom Brady warm up from like 5 feet away. So that was pretty awesome. So I think I've done it more with football, but yeah, I mean, baseball just feels different because you don't get that like because there's so many games that when
yeah.
you see an iconic player play, it's not as like rare to go see them play. If that makes sense.
So you've seen Tom Brady in person. Has he gotten hair transplants?
Has he gotten hair transplants? He looks younger.
Like
He
boomer
he looks like
boomer
he's
claims?
26 years old. It's scary.
Maybe he's going to a good dermatologist or
Yeah.
facialist, the people who do the stuff, which I'm thinking about doing now that I've turned 50. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos and hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. And if you'd like to be part of next week's Fan Mail Friday, post a reply to our videos when they're posted Monday through Thursday. The days can vary during the off season. We still have another, full week of the off season. And then the following
Yeah.
week, we're back to 5 days officially, which is unbelievable. You can ask us anything on Fan Mail Friday, and you'll see in a bit people have asked us anything. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club, where you get top priority and your questions are answered in segment 1. But in this case, you're going to be answered in 1, 2, and 3 because it's an all insider show. There's a 14-day free trial. It's a good time. Please join us. Coming up next, more Fan Mail Friday.
Guys, attending NFL playoff games is an unforgettable experience that brings fans together. And Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I recently used Gametime Picks to find tickets for an upcoming NFL playoff game, and browsing through the deals was simple. I found great value for all kinds of seats around the venue. The Super Deal was especially impressive. It offered the best value for the event. The app's features like seat views before you buy it and all-in pricing with no surprise fees at checkout made the experience smooth and reliable. Plus, the on-time ticket delivery and lowest price guaranteed, it gave me a lot of peace of mind. Just take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code one word locked on MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, you can create the account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Stacey, we are back again. A special episode. It's an insider only Fan Mail Friday. I think this is the first one we've ever had. I mean, at least with me on the show.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
an
think we've
insider
had
only.
this. Yeah, I don't think we did this either when we first started it. Because sometimes if we didn't get in, like, we wouldn't have the entire show Fanmail
Mhm.
Friday because they wouldn't answer or ask enough questions, so we'd have like a third segment of something else. But our insiders are great, and they really helped us out this week.
You guys definitely killed it. Let's go to the first insider of segment 2. It's Lauren. Lauren says, "What are your thoughts on street food, street meat in the city?" First of all, finally a non-baseball question. I'm so happy that we can get to do non-baseball.
Yeah.
I want to get your take on it first.
I love street meat. I love street
Yeah.
food. I don't care. It doesn't scare me. I know some people who are like, "Ugh." No, there was a halal cart around the corner from my last Manhattan job that I used to go to. When I worked at 30 Rock, I usually ate the stuff in the concourse. I didn't go outside. But that other job that I had, we only had a Starbucks in the building, so I had to go out and get food somewhere else. And there was a guy that was parked on 56th and 6th, and I mean, the portion, it just, oh my God, it was
Mhm.
so good. I love it. I was never scared of that. My dad used to get me, what are they called? What do they call the hot dogs? Dirty water dogs? Like
Dirty
I
water
grew up on
dogs.
that stuff. I grew up in the city for the first few years of my life too. So I was always having street vendor food.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. It's probably one of the most unexpected things out of me based on like what my personality is like. I love street meat. I think it's awesome. I will say this unequivocally. There is nothing better than the taste of halal food when you're slightly buzzed coming out of a concert in Manhattan. I mean, there's no better feeling than that. So yeah, halal food, you get the little pita bread on the side too. Terrific.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. I had it all the time in college. So yeah, street meat is an absolute A plus out of both of us.
Yep. Thanks, Lauren. Next question from Casey. What is the most ridiculous rule change you would like to see made in MLB? Now, we've spoken about this before, but if you haven't
Mhm.
watched the show before, we can talk about it. I always say that I think there should be a pinch runner. And when I mean pinch runner, I mean someone who hits the ball well but can't run, like Giancarlo Stanton should have a pinch runner from home, just slightly off to the side, obviously, so he doesn't get hit with anything. And then they can run down to first if they need to.
Yeah, like kickball back in the day, right? When you
Yeah.
had the separate runner. It's funny because when you bring up these topics of separate rules, years ago, if you would have mentioned the ghost runner to me or the Manfred man on second base, I would have said that's ridiculous. Absolutely not. And yet now I don't even mind it. I don't really notice it. It doesn't really bother me as much.
That
So
still bothers me.
it still bothers you. Yeah,
I hate
it
it.
doesn't. I like that it's not in the playoffs. I like that it's not involved in the
Yes,
playoffs. But
yes,
in the
but
regular
I can't
season,
stand it. I feel like the
to me
Yankees
it was like
always do bad. It's just I can't.
I agree with you. It feels like the Yankees lose all those games, but for
Yeah.
me, it feels like, at least from my perspective, I was done with the 16 inning game in July. I'm good, and especially if we're doing the show now, I'm glad that we're not coming on at
Oh,
2:30 in
yeah,
the
like, we're
morning.
not coming on at 2 in the morning, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
that
would be
that that
perfect.
works for me. We only got to do the 2 West Coast trips a year, and we go on at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But other than that, crazy rule changes. What was the big one that came out of this off season they were talking about? Oh, the later on in the game in the ninth inning where you can switch up your lineup and put in whoever you want
Oh,
at that
yes.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't love that one. I just it feels like backyard baseball at that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if they're going to add anything crazy dramatic over the next few years. But
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one that I want to change. I like baseball the way it is. Call me a traditionalist. I like baseball the way it is. Stacey Thomas says, couldn't think of a good Yankee question, so let me ask Brian and Stacey each to design their perfect pizza. I love it. I love it.
Do you prefer tomato sauce on your pizza? Or do you
So
like
I don't hate tomato sauce, but I'll tell you a really good life hack: vodka sauce.
That's a
You
good
put
one,
some
yes.
vodka pie, it'll change your religion how good that stuff is.
Yeah, like, I do like traditional pizza, like, cheese, pepperoni, like, nothing like, sausage, I love ground sausage, love
Mhm,
that. But I also like other pizzas, like
mhm.
chicken bacon ranch pizza and,
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Like, I had a chicken bacon ranch pizza from a local place, I'm not sure if it's there anymore, that I wanted to have it, like, 5 days in a row. It was so good. Like, everything about it was good. The portion was good, like, because sometimes when they make pizza and there's toppings on it, it's kinda, like,
Mhm.
not right. I worked at a pizza place in college, so I know how to make a
Okay.
pizza. Yeah.
That's a impressive. That's
Yeah.
a good brag.
Yeah, I worked at
I've
a pizza
tried
place
doing
in
it.
college.
My mom has pizza stones downstairs, like the ones that you put in the oven to make. And every time I went out and bought dough, I've either bought too much or I can't. It's always been a disaster. The
Yeah.
crust is like this. It's like this thick. It's like a Chicago slice.
Well, our
Are
oven
you
at the pizza place in college was like a conveyor belt oven, so you put the pizza on the oven and it rolled in and it was like
Oh,
timed
okay.
perfectly to come out. But my boss at the time, because this was 30 years ago, came
Mhm.
up with I can't remember which pizza place it was, if it was Domino's, but it was called well, they called it a pizzone because it was like a pizza calzone. But my boss Doug made that for us. He didn't sell it. But behind the scenes, we would test things out and we made like a
Okay.
pizzone in the oven where you'd close the pizza, but make it like a big giant calzone
Uh-huh.
and put stuff in it.
That's fun.
Mhm.
That's fun. Now,
Yeah.
are you thin or thick crust kind of person?
Either. I can take either,
Okay.
honestly. I don't really have a preference. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for thicker crust and other times I just want, the thinnest crust possible.
I'll say this, Thomas, if you want a really, really bold take that a lot of people probably won't agree with, but it's the truth. Best pizza in New York City, Staten Island. It's the only thing Staten Island has. It's the only
Yeah.
thing Staten Island has, but it's got the best pizza in New York City.
And people don't know that. Like a lot of people don't
Yes.
know that. They think of the
Oh, because
regular
people say
places
Brooklyn or Manhattan, but no, it's
like
and nothing
Grimaldi's,
on.
Ray's, John's, like they'll name all those places and
Yeah,
then they don't know about Staten Island. I
not a
know because I
knock,
lived there.
not a knock. There's some great ones in Manhattan. John's on Bleecker is fantastic. There are some great ones, but
Yeah.
Staten Island, Staten Island has the best overall pizza because your little hole in the wall place that's down the block is excellent. Is terrific. So yeah, Staten Island's got the best pizza in New York City. I'll stand by that forever. Is this next one me or you?
I think it's me. I'll do it. A humorous question for next week, because he asked this last week. Already sent one for this week. Are the Jets and Giants permanently doomed to mediocrity?
Yes. Next question.
I know,
Yeah, probably. I
pretty
mean, they
much.
both stink. The Giants are in worse shape than the Jets going forward. I think the Jets have more talent on their roster. The
Yeah.
Giants are just stuck in no man's land. But yeah, they're both doomed.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful being fans of both teams.
It makes it easier to just be a football fan, honestly, because you don't got to
Yeah,
worry about them.
yeah, because I'm Giants, Brian's Jets. Thanks for that, Gus. Honestly, actually, I'm not even kidding. Thank you, Gus, for making me um a Giants fan. Giants, Knicks, Rangers. Yeah.
Rangers, who just made a big trade, by the way, while we were on the air. If you noticed that I was distracted when the show started, it's because my
Oh,
phone started blowing up. But
oh,
The Rangers traded for JT Miller. So if anyone noticed that I was distracted early on, Philip Hedel is now gone and JT Miller is now on the Rangers, back on the
in-
Rangers. So
interesting.
that's what I
Huh.
was distracted by.
All right. Well, we're gonna go. We're pushing a question back to the next segment because we don't have time. So coming up next, more Fan Mail Friday.
Super Bowl 59 is here, my favorite holiday of the year. One game, two teams, there's endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, which I love doing, heads every year, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action with live betting all game long. You can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's just icing on the cake. Download the app or head to fanduel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's fanduel.com. Bet with FanDuel. It's an official partner of Super Bowl 59. Stacey, we're back. I don't know who sent in the first question of segment
Yeah,
3 because it
sorry, I
got
meant
moved down.
yeah, it's Debbie. It's Debbie because I
Oh,
had to.
cool.
Yeah.
So, Debbie, allow me to read your question. Fanmail Friday, has there ever been any ambidextrous pitchers? And if so, what would be the rules for that? Players can switch sides to bat depending on pitcher. So could pitcher do that depending on which side of the plate batter was on? Yes. I don't know if there was a major league one, but there was one.
Pat Van Deet. Pat Van
Okay, so
Deet.
there was.
Yeah.
There was a pitcher of I don't how recent was that?
Within the last 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. There was
Yeah.
a pitcher in Staten Island that pitched for the Staten Island Yankees that was ambidextrous. That would literally he had a special made glove that fit left hand, right hand, and he would switch it mid at bat. And that was a thing. I don't remember a pitcher in the major leagues of recently doing that though.
Hold on. We might be
She's
talking
pulling
about
something up, so
we might be talking about the same person. Oh yeah, no, it was older than that. Sorry. He
okay.
last played August of 2020, but he was drafted by the Yankees. That's who you're talking about. Pat. It's probably Pat Venditte. Yeah.
Okay,
he
yeah,
did.
but he
Yeah,
wasn't. He didn't make the major leagues. I don't think though.
No, he did. He was with Oakland. He was with
Really?
Toronto. He played with a bunch like Oakland, Toronto, Seattle, Dodgers, Giants, Marlins. Like
He
he
never
didn't make
became a
it
thing
big.
though.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
because I mean, you would have if he was an ambidextrous pitcher that was doing that legitimately. I mean, you'd hear about it for a while.
but
So he never made it big.
there's an infamous headline about him. If you look it up on Google, instead of ambidextrous, it said amphibious.
Well, I mean, he could be too. You never know. But
It's like a
you know,
famous,
I will say
headline. Yeah.
it was a big deal on Staten Island when he was on the Staten Island Yankees because I know there's a famous clip and I'm forgetting it's got to be on YouTube if you guys want to find it of mid at bat him switching between left and right, and the hitter he wound up facing was a switch hitter. So when the pitcher would switch to the right hand, the hitter would go to the left side, and the pitcher would switch to the left, and the umpire eventually would step in and be like, "Enough of this! Someone figure it out and pick one." I don't know if there is an actual rule because it's never happened before, but yeah, that's a funny take out of baseball.
Yeah. We're going to switch the next two questions. So we had two insiders ask two questions for today. So the
Okay.
first one is question number 2 from David F. And it's from his wife, Julie. What do the Yankees do to help players and their families acclimate quickly to their new environment if they're traded mid-season?
Nothing. The Yankees are horrible to players. We learned that from the Juan Soto contract. No,
That's right. They're awful.
I know that most major league teams. I don't know this for sure with the Yankees. We've never asked, and we I guess we could try and get someone on that could answer that for us. But the Yankees, I'm sure, because most teams do, have a certain personnel department that puts together like packages for families when guys are traded. So
I would think so.
they will reach out. They will reach out to the wife of the player if they've got kids and stuff like that, and handle everything through her, so the player can kind of just focus on packing his things and getting to the new city. And they will handle with the wife. We'll find you a place to live. We'll give you school options, transportation options. We'll send a moving company. They take care of literally everything. I know many teams do that. I'd be shocked if the Yankees didn't do that. So yeah, I know it's these teams do a lot for fans. They make it very jealous as a regular person because I would love when
to have all that
happens.
set up for like to help you with everything. Sure.
Yeah. So I know they do that for them, and it's that's a really cool feature that they give to players, and I know that they make it so the families are taken care of on one end with the specialist that works for the team, and the players' duty is literally just pack your bags and go to the stadium because they don't. And it's true. I mean, these guys have outside lives, and you don't realize they do, but that could become a distraction. If you get traded mid-season, now your kids have to find a new school, and your wife's still living in a house in a different city, and you're trying to move and find somewhere to live and pack your things. If all that's happening while you're trying to play on a new team and acclimate yourself in a new environment, that's really tough to get focused on. So the fact that they allow this and just make it seamless for them, it's really key for guys that get traded.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole, I believe he's our last insider. Our last question.
Mm-hmm.
Have either of you entertained meeting your insiders for an in-person Q&A session? We have. And there may be news in that in the future. We don't know for sure. It could potentially be in the works. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it very vague. So, yeah. How about you guys let us know if you'd be willing to do that? If you want to do that, we could certainly set something up. But, we do have live streams here where you can meet us live from our homes where we don't have to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I know a lot of our insiders are from all over the place, so it would be hard to do an in-person thing for just insiders. But if we did like a live show somewhere, in the New York area, we probably could get some people to come. I'm not saying we're doing this. I'm just saying this as a, an example.
We're
of
charging
something
we're
that you
charging a
do.
lot for tickets, so beware. Okay, if we're doing a live show, you're
Yeah.
gonna make me show up. So
Yeah.
we're charging a lot for tickets.
Yeah. It's going to cost you to have to see
Yeah,
us in person.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's
I
not a
won't leave.
pretty
I
sight,
won't
trust
leave
me.
my house. I'm gonna be like those models that wouldn't leave their. Who is it? Linda Evangelista wouldn't leave her bed for less than like $50,000 to do a runway show or something. I'm gonna make it like I'm not gonna leave my house unless I make a certain amount.
Me and
I'm not gonna
Stacey are gonna start having appearance fees from Locked On. Our manager Jeff is gonna have to give us appearance fees to get us to show up places.
I'm just
But yeah,
kidding, everyone. I would never do that.
we'll let you guys know. We'll definitely have it somewhat in the works, so we'll let you guys know. Golden Spation, yeah, I'm aware. Crazy trade. He's back as a Ranger. Apparently, he waived his no trade clause to go back to the Rangers, and Philip Hedel is no longer a Ranger. So, interesting trade there. I don't know if it means much for the Rangers, but thank you for allowing me to talk Ranger hockey for a couple seconds on the show. I enjoy that.
Just seeing if there are any questions. Oh, Debbie was eating pizza while we were talking about pizza.
I haven't had pizza. I'm lying. I had pizza about a week ago, but it was a bar pie. I haven't had good pizza in a good bit. I'm sure I will next Sunday, but
When did I? Oh, my mom brought some pizza home from somewhere, and it was almost sweet. I don't know what it was. It was good though.
have you been to Chicago and had Chicago pizza?
No, I've never been to the middle of the country. I've only flown over it.
Interesting, because Chicago pizza is more of a
It's a
casserole.
casserole.
It's a casserole, yeah.
It's a casserole. Yeah. I've had
Yeah, so
Pizzeria
I'm not
Uno,
a
which
huge
is
fan.
basically Chicago pizza.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know it. Yeah. My friends, we can, it's live. I'll cut this out of the audio. My friends and I, when we used to go into the city, when we first started college and we go to clubs and stuff before we were allowed to, because we weren't 21 yet, but they let us in anyway. We would
Mhm.
always go. There was a Pizzeria Uno on 6th Avenue, like in the Village. And we would go there to start. And then we'd head up to the Limelight and go to the Limelight. We sometimes go to the Palladium. Like we go to different places, but we always started at Pizzeria Uno for some reason. That was our thing. Or if we were like just hanging out in the city, because this was the early-ish to mid-90s when this was happening. And if we were hanging out in the Village, because my friends were real suburbanites, where I lived in the city till I was 4, but I was in the city every weekend visiting my grandparents and my grandmother. So I consider myself a city person compared to my hick friends from the suburbs who act like they live in upstate New York. So whenever we were down in the Village, I had a very good sense of direction, but I would always tell my friends, if you look one way and see the Twin Towers, you're looking south. If you look the other way and it's the Empire State Building, that's north. That's how you know where you are. That was our, and then of course the Empire State Building would shut its lights off at like midnight, and then we'd be like,
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days. That's a long time ago. But I didn't mind the deep dish. Now I can't. Not with my GERD. I can't have that much tomato sauce. It would kill me.
Yeah, no, I don't dig deep dish. It's too thick and too. I don't like it
It
at
feels
all.
like an
It's not for
acquired
me.
taste, or like because some people feel the same way about our thin pizza. We're like, oh, this is nothing. Like, why do you guys like that? It's because we were brought up on it. So I can
Yeah,
understand why
but
Chicago people are very.
a thin bar pie is just terrific, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Chicago, great city though. Great city.
Yeah, I gotta go there.
Not great pizza.
Yeah, I know. I gotta
Really
go.
good Italian food.
I gotta go to Greek Town and visit my people. In yeah, when I was
Wrigleyville,
working in it.
too.
When I was working at NBC, and they knew that we were leaving because they laid a bunch of us off, but made us work for the last 3 months to replace ourselves, basically, which was really fun. And the LA station wanted me to go out there. The Chicago station wanted me to go out, and I was leaning towards Chicago because I don't drive, and they have a good metro system, and LA doesn't.
Yeah.
And the national sales manager was like, "They have Greek people here." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I don't speak Greek." But okay, because every time I go into a place. If I go into a diner, or if I go, like, especially a diner, and I lay down my debit card and they see Stacey Gatsoulias, they'll start speaking to me in Greek, and I just shake my head, and they get so angry. I'm like, look, I know hello, goodbye, I know Kronia Pala, I know food, I know curse words, but I don't, my dad never.
The important stuff.
Yeah, my dad never taught me Greek. Blame Gus for that. But they get so angry. Oh my God. Like, it's How dare you? Especially because it's Stacey Gatsoulias. I mean, that's a Greek name.
Should you get rid of your last name? Like, what's like why get mad at you for that? Like, what are you supposed to do about that?
Yeah, and then they also get offended when they find out I'm only half Greek because my
Oh,
dad
yeah,
married an
God forbid.
Italian Irish girl. Like, oh, so it's just the way it is.
It is the way it is.
But yeah, deep dish is too much. Can't do it. But it's not bad. It's just I would only be able to eat it like maybe once a year, and I'd have to have like Tums for like 2 hours
Like
afterwards.
ready.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I went to what's the famous deep dish place in Chicago? I'm trying to think of the name right now. It starts with a G. Um, but I went there, Giordano's. I
Oh,
went there and had it. It was good. It was one thing that I wanted to try, but it wasn't great. Chicago hot dogs, another weird thing they have there. It's basically a hot dog with everything on it.
yeah.
It's got like onions, relish, ketchup, mustard, ranch. It's got everything on it. Not terrific.
I've had a
You know,
Sonoran hot dog in Arizona.
interesting. That's weird.
Almost like a Mexican hot dog. Like there's beans on it and all this
Hmm.
other stuff on it. It was really
Yeah,
good.
no, I'm good.
It was
I'm
good.
good. No beans for me.
You
I've
know?
it's fascinating. I've said this about certain places, and it's not accurate at all, but it is. In certain places, certain things just taste better because you're there.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like when you're in Philadelphia, cheesesteaks just taste better. It's not difficult to make. I can make a cheesesteak in my kitchen that tastes exactly the same, but for some reason, it tastes better when you're in Philly. Just like pizza kind of tastes better when you're in New York. Uh, Having a cold beer at the Cubby Bear for some reason just tastes better when you're in the Cubby Bear. There's no reason for why, it just does. So I would strongly advise if you're in Chicago, even if the Cubs aren't in town, go stop at the Cubby Bear and get a drink. It is fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta make
Great
my
place.
way out to Chicago. I should do that.
Don't go now. Go in
No,
the summertime.
I've
It's
flown over it.
freezing there.
I flew over it coming back from Vegas one time, and, it was actually really cool because I was on the right side of the plane, and the main part of the city was there, so I saw the tower, I saw everything. I was like, "Oh, there's Chicago, how cool." And then we went over Lake Michigan. It was
That was
cool.
it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us on a Friday night for this insider edition of Fanmail Friday. To the insiders, thank you. You guys are awesome. And to anyone on YouTube, if I did miss a question, I apologize, but I swear I really didn't see anything that like could have been answered on the show. Like sometimes they leave questions, but it's more like a rhetorical kind of, and then people
Mhm.
answer the question in the comments. So I didn't really see anything. So if I did miss something from the YouTube audience, I apologize, and I will make it up to you next week. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, you can find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor. He is very humorous, and he brings you all the news. He keeps you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. So you can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gatsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you next week.